When the wrong person enters your path, the right lesson appears. Zen teaches not in words but in silence, not through explanations but through experience. The greatest teachers in life do not always appear as monks in saffron robes or sages under ancient trees. Sometimes, the teacher comes wrapped in charm, but with a shadowed heart, a person who speaks of love but knows only control, a being whose life is built like a temple of mirrors, reflecting everyone but never revealing their own truth. You may ask, why was I placed in the life of such a person? Or more piercing still, why was someone like that placed in mine? This question is not born from logic but from suffering. And where suffering exists, the Buddha once said, liberation can follow. Let this teaching be the stillness in your storm, the voice of wisdom in your silence, and the story that uncovers what your soul already knows. 1. The narcissist is not your punishment, they are your portal. In the earliest chapter of your entanglement with the narcissist, something felt familiar, almost faded. Not because love was present, but because your inner emptiness recognized their ability to fill it, even if only for a moment. Buddhism teaches that all things arise in dependence. What feels like random suffering is often karmic alignment, a ripple in the pond caused by a stone dropped lifetimes ago. A narcissist's presence in your life is not a random cruelty. It is the echo of your inner script, the forgotten agreement written in the ink of unconsciousness. I will attract the one who reveals to me what I still refuse to heal. A narcissist walks into your life like a flame disguised as warmth, but they do not come to destroy you. They come to burn away the illusions you cling to, illusions of your worth being external, of love being earned through self-abandonment, of approval being the measure of your existence. They enter not to stay, but to shatter. 2. Karma is not cruelty, it is clarity. In Buddhist teachings, karma is not a cosmic punishment. It is simply cause and effect. The law of karma says, what arises, arises because conditions allowed it. What sustains, sustains because we keep feeding it. So why did this relationship arise? Because deep within your consciousness, seeds of unworthiness had not yet been uprooted. Because your inner garden was fertile for the weed that looks like a rose, you met the narcissist not to be destroyed, but to be confronted with the final test of illusion. You had to see with your own eyes how your silence was interpreted as agreement, how your compassion was mistaken for submission, and how your kindness was exploited for control. The truth that shocks is this: you were not placed in their life to fix them. You were placed in their life to outgrow your own illusion. 3. Compassion without wisdom is a trap. Zen teaches the middle path, the balance between heart and mind. Compassion is sacred, but without the sword of wisdom, it becomes a net you tangle yourself in. When you stayed in their world, forgiving endlessly, hoping endlessly, giving endlessly, you were not being noble. You were being blind. A narcissist feeds on the emotional generosity of others. They teach one of the hardest lessons in the Dharma, that compassion must not be given blindly, especially when the receiver turns it into a weapon. Your spiritual heart was meant to open, not to leak. The narcissist revealed the places where your compassion had no boundaries. They forced you to ask, where does kindness end and self-betrayal begin? The answer became clearer each time you cried alone for someone who never apologized, each time you justified their rage as your fault, each time you called it love but lived in fear. This is not weakness. This is awakening. 4. You were never supposed to heal them. A fundamental error of the kind-hearted is the belief that love alone transforms. But Zen says transformation requires intention, not just exposure. You were placed in their life not as their healer, not as their redemption, but as their mirror. And they shattered it. Why? because they do not wish to see their reflection. They seek only admiration, not transformation. They want to be worshipped, not witnessed. You were never broken, but your presence revealed their fractures. In turn, they taught you the paradox of light. Even sunlight is painful to eyes that have known only darkness. 5. The narcissist is your final exam. Before liberation, the final illusion must fall. This illusion is not about the narcissist. It is about the part of you that still believes you are only worthy when chosen. In Buddhism, suffering ends not when life changes, but when the mind transforms. The narcissist did not chain you. You handed them the key to your silence. You allowed the cycle because a deeper fear haunted you, the fear of being alone, unchosen, unseen. They were not the storm. They were the echo of your unhealed wound, and so the universe sent them not as your soulmate, but as your soul mirror. They came not to complete you, but to expose what you must complete within. 6. Silence is the beginning of freedom. Zen teaches, when nothing is left to hold, the hands become free. You left not when you had enough, but when you finally saw the truth. The narcissist did not change, they simply exhausted your illusions, and in that moment, silence became your sword. You stopped explaining. You stopped defending. You stopped bleeding to prove you were alive. Your stillness was not surrender, it was revolution. 7. The awakening after the narcissist. After the detachment, the journey begins. Not outward, but inward, you start seeing yourself without their lens. You no longer ask what they think, you ask what your soul whispers. You start honoring the red flags you once colored white. You start rebuilding boundaries that once felt like betrayal. You begin to unlearn the lie that love requires suffering, and in the silence of your healing, you realize the purpose of the pain, to wake you from the dream of unworthiness. Why the truth shocks. The shocking truth is not about the narcissist, it is about you, that you were never broken, that you stayed not because of weakness, but because of depth, that you attracted the narcissist not because of your flaws, but because of your light, a light they envied, not loved. But even more shocking is this, you were placed in their life so they could see what real love looks like, and they still chose illusion. You were placed in their life to offer truth, and they rejected it. You were placed in their life so you could finally see yourself. And you did. This was not your destruction, it was your initiation. In the end, what remains is a silent lesson. You were not meant to save them. You were meant to save yourself in their presence. This is not cruelty from the universe, this is karma's mercy. The path did not make sense in the pain. But now you know, the narcissist was not the punishment, they were the mirror, the truth, the fire, and you were always the gold beneath the ashes. 8. You were not weak, you were deep. In your quiet hours, thoughts may return. Why didn't I see it earlier? Why did I stay for so long? Why did I love someone who never saw me? These questions are not signs of regret. They are echoes of a soul that has begun to awaken. An awakening, as the Buddha said, often comes through fire, not comfort. Zen does not judge your path. It honors it. Remaining with a narcissist was not a sign of weakness. It was a sign of your capacity to believe in transformation, to give beyond limits, to love without agenda. But now, wisdom walks beside your compassion. You understand the nature of suffering not because you read about it, but because you tasted it. The one who walks away is not the same as the one who entered, and that is the hidden blessing of pain. it carves the mind so deeply that when peace finally enters, it floods every corner of the soul. 9. How suffering becomes a gate to enlightenment. In Buddhist teachings, the lotus only grows in mud. Without the confusion, the gaslighting, the broken promises, the subtle manipulations, you would never see the contrast. You would never understand the beauty of clarity. You would not value boundaries. You would not honor silence. The narcissist came as the mud. Your awakening was the lotus. Enlightenment is not a mystical gift, it is the understanding of truth. And the deepest truth you now carry is this: no one can dim your light unless you hand them the switch, and you reclaimed it. 10. The power of walking away without hatred. Zen does not teach revenge. It teaches release. Letting go of the narcissist is not the end of a chapter, it is the end of an illusion, but what truly frees you is not the leaving. It is the absence of hatred. Hatred binds you just as tightly as attachment. You no longer carry bitterness, not because they deserve forgiveness, but because you deserve peace. The storm inside you has calmed. The urge to be understood by them is gone. You no longer need them to see your worth. You see it. Walking away in peace is the final act of mastery. 11. What the narcissist taught your soul. Ironically, the person who caused the most pain has gifted the greatest lesson. They taught you that boundaries are sacred. That love without respect is a lie, that empathy must not be wasted on those who weaponize it, that presence is more powerful than performance, that silence can teach louder than shouting. You see now that your role was never to fix them, your role was to become unfixable by them, to grow beyond the illusion, to rise. 12. You are not broken, you are reconstructed. The path through narcissistic suffering is not just survival. It is rebirth. What you thought was a breakdown was really a clearing. The you who emerged from this experience is someone you had not met before, a soul who trusts intuition more than charm, a heart that knows the difference between love and need. A mind that no longer chases validation but radiates stillness. You do not need closure from them. You are the closure, and you do not need to speak of revenge. Your peace is louder than anything they will ever say. The narcissist as a spiritual catalyst. When Zen speaks of illusion, it refers to anything that covers truth. The narcissist was the illusion maker, but unknowingly, they were also the truth revealer. By showing you false love, they led you toward true love of self. By offering chaos, they made your peace more precious. By withdrawing affection, they taught you to stop begging. By manipulating, they sharpened your discernment. By discarding, they forced you inward, to the only place where real healing lives, and that is the truth that shocks. You thought the narcissist came to ruin your life, but they came to awaken it. The one who triggers your deepest wound is the one who shows you where your power sleeps. Let them go, bow to the lesson, then walk forward, lighter, wiser, whole. Thanks for watching. Hope enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more content like this. Just click the subscribe button below and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Also, feel free to leave a comment and let me know what you'd like to see next. See you in the next video.